Hello, welcome back to the stream, everybody. Good to see you again. Happy Friday. So yeah, today we're just going to be continuing on with the stuff that we've been working on. I have a bug related to alchemy that I want to fix. The guaranteed added abilities, or the abilities that get added from other reagents, don't apply to gold, because gold is a special case. Gold actually turns into a different card under the hood. So there's something that is not transferring those guaranteed alchemy abilities over to whatever card takes the place of gold. So we're going to do that. And I've got a bunch of other things in here. Unfortunately, these things are probably going to be a little bit involved, a lot of them, but we will definitely see what we can get done. I do have a new grow board event art that I want to implement, so maybe we'll start working on that. Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know how it's going to go, but we're going to figure it out. Anyway, before I get into it, I want to remind everyone that Alchemortis is available for wishlisting, so definitely check that out. If you're interested in dark fantasy roguelite auto battlers where you can use alchemy to create your own synergies, you can also support the game on Patreon. There will be a new playtest of the game coming out probably by the end of the month, if all goes well. And the way that I've been doing the playtests, and the way that I will continue to do the playtests, is that if you subscribe at either tier, you will receive 1 week of early access to the playtest. So if you want to play it as soon as it's available, you could subscribe to this lower tier here. But the higher tier, if you subscribe to this for at least 1 month, not only will you get playtest access, but I'm going to send you an Alchemortis Steam key when the game launches, so you don't have to purchase it on Steam, and I will also put your name in the in-game Alchemortis credits. So if that sounds good to you, definitely consider it. It helps me out a lot. And you could also consider purchasing one of my Udemy courses, which will teach you how to build complete games in the Godot engine. This is the way that I make all my money. So I don't have a job right now. All of my income is entirely dependent on what comes from Udemy and what comes from Patreon. So every little bit helps. So definitely check those out if you can. And if you don't want to or can't support financially for whatever reason, of course, that's totally fine. You could support me by liking the channel, liking the video, subscribing to the channel. You could join the Discord. You could sign up for my email list. You can wishlist Steam. Those are all free ways of also supporting me, and all of that is very helpful as well. Okay, with all of that out of the way, let's get into it. Hello, Emerson. Good morning. Hello, Bubblegum Lord. My favorite show is on. Very nice. Good. I'm glad to be your favorite show. Good morning, Ninja Link. Good to see you. Good to see you all. And welcome to all the lurkers as well. I know you're out there. There are more viewers right now than chatters, so that must mean that there are lurkers out there. Plugged your channel on Reddit the other day. Oh, very nice. Thank you. Appreciate that, Courier Games, and welcome back. Which subreddit was it on? Was it on the Godot subreddit? Anyway, so yeah, let's fix this gold issue. So alchemy added abilities are not being properly added to transmuted gold alchemy inputs. So basically what that means is that if I go to the alchemy here, any day now. Any day now. Any day now. Yep. Take your time. Hello? Oh, there it goes. All right. So for example, this says, adds the following ability as a guaranteed alchemical output to allied cards. Converts all preserve applied to fire. So if I do this, and then I put gold in here, for instance, I'm not going to get that ability onto the gold. Oh, I need to add one non-reagent card. So whatever card that turns into, so the gold turned into candle, I did not get that ability. That ability got added to the spiderling, but it didn't get added to the gold. So that's not the way that it should work. And I need to fix that. So I'm hoping that the fix will be relatively simple, but let's see why it's not working in the first place. So I think, actually, I probably broke this, if I'm thinking correctly. So we've got these reagent added abilities. This is a dictionary that maps each input card to the list of abilities that the reagents need to add to it. And why this is necessary is because some reagents that add abilities to cards will now have an element of positioning. So they can only affect adjacent cards, or they can only affect cards on the left edge of the board or whatever, something like that. And so I need to be able to delineate between which cards should receive which abilities, right? So that's what we did yesterday in the afternoon stream, is we split this out into a dictionary where each input card is tracked along with a list of guaranteed abilities that need to be tacked onto the card. And so the problem here, though, is that this reagent added abilities here is not accounting for the fact that we have some transmuted cards here. So we're calling transmute cards up here. This is what actually transforms the gold into new cards. So you can see that it overrides the input cards here. But then it tracks the new card as a transmuted card. So actually, why is this not working? So we've got transmute cards. Oh. Well, shoot. Never mind, this is not going to be easy. So the problem here is that because this card is being changed under the hood, it's not, by the time this alchemy, this get randomized output is called here, let me think about this. By the time this get randomized output is called, right, so what's happening here, let me just back up a second. This alchemy added ability, this is responsible for adding the guaranteed abilities. But the problem here is that I have to call get target cards to know what cards to apply the ability to. And this is returning the cached targets in the query target provider. And this cached targets is basically a stored list of the board query results. And this execute method is called only on board state change, because this is a this alchemy added ability is an I non-combat ability. So anything that implements I non-combat ability will have its abilities executed whenever the board state changes. And a board state change is basically like a card got moved somewhere else. Either it changed position on the board, or it got removed from the board, or whatever. And then what happens is I need to update all the I non-combat abilities, most of which implement this or have a reference to this query target provider, which then goes and refreshes the result of the query. So the problem is that that query result is stale when we call this get randomized output here. Or rather, maybe it's not there. I think it's when we call collect stats. Yeah, right. So it's stale. It still contains old references, but we're actually adding a new card into the outputs, which is the whatever the gold transforms into. So that new card was never queried by anything, which is why it never gets those abilities. So one solution for that is to map the input gold to the output card. No, that's not going to work. So I'm trying to think of a, like, this could be a relatively difficult situation because let's say that I have a reagent that adds damage to minion cards. And while I'm doing that alchemy, I throw a gold in there, and the gold transforms into a minion. That minion that the gold transformed into should probably receive that ability. Oh, this is going to be tricky. This is going to be a tricky one. Hello, Clickertail. Hello, V. Welcome. All right, well, we are, what is this, 15 minutes into the stream, and I'm already stumped. Oy. Well, what we could do first is we could just fix the base case. What does the Banshee head do again? Adjacent, okay. I'm gonna change this actually. Anyway. Oh boy. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, let's just fix the base case for now. So what I probably should do is what I can do is I can reagent added ability, try get value target card. This collect stats, is this happening after? That is happening after transmute. However, the problem is I'm changing inside of the input cards. I'm changing. Okay, I think I need to change this actually. I don't think this logic makes sense. I'm changing the input cards to the new card with transmute, but I actually don't think I should do that. I think I should keep the gold as an input in this input list, and I should do the gold filtering when I'm actually doing the get randomized output. So let's do that. Let's create a transmutation. Let's do a dictionary. Private dictionary. We're gonna do base card. And we're gonna do list. No, not list. We're just gonna do base card to base card. We are gonna do transmuted card map, I guess. That's fine. So we got the transmuted card map. We'll go to transmute cards. And here we're not going to reset the input cards. So we're going to get a new card. We have this transmuted cards list here. I'm going to get rid of that as well, because we could derive that information from the dictionary. So here we're going to do transmuted card map input card is equal to new card. Okay, so we've got that. So now we need to filter that out. So anywhere where I'm using those transmuted cards, transmuted card map dot values. Okay. Is that right? Wait, non-reagent, non-transmuted cards. Oh, I don't think I need that anymore. Because this is no longer in the list. Oh, I see. Input cards. So this actually doesn't need to be here. This can be non-reagent. Well, non-reagent input cards, non-reagent input cards. This input cards here, so collect stats. So yeah, this will need to account for the gold, the new gold ability. So let's just do input cards. I'll just call this adjusted input cards. Input cards, and then we're gonna do transmuted card map dot values. Why doesn't that work? Oh, because I need this to be a list. List base card. Okay, and then anywhere where we're using input cards, we're gonna rename this. Okay, so the adjusted input cards is going to account for all the transmuted cards as well. But in this input cards list, we still have the original gold. Where is this validate being called? I think validate is called before transmute, yeah. Okay, so that should work. Input cards, transmuted cards out values. So now when we do get randomized output, is this card to new ability count? Non-reagent input cards. Okay, yeah, I think that's right. So, oh, okay. Input card, so this could be gold at any point. So what I need to do is I need to say, I'm going to rename this to base input card here. Var input card is equal to transmuted card map contains key base input card. Then we'll get the value out of that. Otherwise, we'll get the base input card. And that should work. Prefer a try get value. Okay. But that doesn't fundamentally solve the problem that I have down here, which is this. Where is that? Reagent added ability. Reagent added abilities. Oh, this is wrong too. Oh, this is wrong too. Wait a minute. Abilities from reagents. I need to redo this whole system, but that's okay. We're not going to worry about it just yet. Oh, I'm going to have to fix this too. All right, we're not going to worry about that just yet. The main thing that we want to fix right now is... So this reagent added abilities will contain this here. Let's do this. var is transmuted card is equal to transmuted map. Let's do that. Okay. So if it's a transmuted card, we want to do this. Is transmuted card question mark transmuted card? No, wait. I think this should just always be base input card. So I actually didn't need to do this. We'll figure it out. We'll figure this out. I will stumble my way through this. It's fine. Okay. Son of a bee. Hello, Neozoid. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Emerson. Oh, no. Wait, I already said hello to you. Never mind. Oh, boy. Hello, Kinyaz. Will we get a bonus today? Possibly. It's possible, but I can't promise anything. It's time for Game Dev once again. Yes, indeed. Welcome back, Jackie Daytona. Good to see you. Okay, so I think maybe this will work. Maybe this will work. Okay. Let's see. So we'll put this in here, we'll put that in there, we'll put that in there, we'll put that in there. So all of the output cards should contain that converts shield applied to fire. It did not work. So it's still not working here for the gold. Why would that not be the case? Why would that not be the case? Well, what we can do here is we can do... Let's try this. We'll make this a conditional breakpoint. I have bad luck with these conditional breakpoints, but we're going to try it. Base input card dot card definition resource dot ID is equal to gold. Let's debug this. So hopefully that will only happen, that will only do a breakpoint if we're on gold. So let's see. Put this over there, put that over there, put that over there. Okay. It didn't work. I don't know why those conditional breakpoints don't work. Base input card, card definition resource, ID. Well, let's try it again. Hello, RNF. I've never touched a game developer before. You've never touched game developers? I've never touched game development before, only web development, but I want to make a game like Cult of the Lamb with 2.5D. Can Godot make it? It's not really a question of can Godot make it, it's more so a question of can you make it? Godot, yes, Godot is capable of doing that kind of game for sure. But I think that the thing about like people who want to get into game development is I think that they often severely underestimate the amount of skill and work that goes into making a game. So the unfortunate reality is that if you set out to make a game like Cult of the Lamb for your first game, it's not going to go well at all. So I don't mean to say that to discourage you. I'm just saying, I'm trying to help you temper your expectations. If you're just getting into game development, there are a lot of skills that you need to learn. Like technical skills of how to use the engine, but then also like visual skills of how to actually make a 2.5D world look full and vibrant and stylized. And then the game design aspect of it is a totally different problem. So I would encourage you to start small. Definitely try game development. Game development is very fun, but I would caution you against trying to make such a game if you're just getting into game development. You should probably ease yourself into it first. Get familiar, get some proficiency with the skills that you'll need to make such a game, and then you can try it. But yeah, I don't mean to, like I said, I don't mean to discourage you. I think that's the thing with beginners is like temper your expectations a lot. Your first projects are not going to work very well and they're not going to be very fun, and that's totally normal. And that's part of the process of learning so that you can get to the stage where you can make a game like Cult of the Lamb. Hello, Everone. Welcome. Good to see you. Don't want to generalize and discourage, but from personal experience, if somebody asks, can I make X game? Answer is probably not because of inexperience. Yeah, I understand that. Copy and understand how old Flash games works. They'll give you context to major games like Cult of the Lamb. Yeah, you're welcome. And again, I don't want to discourage you enough. I just want you to understand that it's not going to be that easy, especially not when you first start. Definitely try it though. It's a lot of fun. Game development, even as just a hobby where you tinker with things, is really, really fun. But doing something like Cult of the Lamb takes a lot of skill and a lot of time. And yeah, that's basically all I'm saying. The engine helps a lot, but the engine does not make it... What do I want to say? Your game engine does help a lot because it provides a bunch of functionality out of the box for you and a tooling for you to make a game. But because engines are made to be as general as possible, meaning that you can make any game in any genre in an engine, they're still fundamentally just like a framework and a set of tools. They're not going to provide like an on-rails experience that makes doing something like a specific type of game like very straightforward, right? The only way to get experience to do so is set out with what you want to make and do your best and have fun. I think what Bubblegum Lord is saying is that, well, I'll let Bubblegum Lord respond to that. Starting with, I can't do X because I don't have experience as a self-fulfilling prophecy. That is also true, right? I guess my point is that you need to have the mindset of like, I don't have this experience and I need to put in the effort to gain that experience so that I can do X, right? And by the way, like I've only sold like 2,500 copies of my games. So, you know, you should always take my opinion with respect to game development with a grain of salt. I'm not like a game development guru, you know. I'm still figuring out a lot of this stuff myself. But I can speak from experience as a person who did start as a beginner and who has put a lot of time into game development. Understand that experience with many failures is the best teacher. Yes, exactly, yeah. Got to put the reps in. It's like any muscle, you have to train it. Exactly, yeah. Exactly. And I think that's, honestly, I think the biggest blocker to people that are new to game development is that they don't have that frame of mind when they start, and so they become discouraged very easily. But yeah, if you start off game development with the expectation that it's going to be difficult and with the expectation that you're going to need to put in a lot of effort to learn the skills, then I think that helps keep the discouragement at bay because your expectations have been managed more appropriately, right? A lot of problems in life, at least what I've discovered, can be solved with like a simple reframing of the problem and how you think about it. So if you think about getting into game development less of like achieving the end goal of making a game that you really want to make, and you start it instead with the framing of there are a lot of skills here that I need to put effort into learning, I think that alone makes it easier in a way. I don't know if that makes any sense, but Firebell acting like 2,500 copies sold is bad when the median mode and average for most game devs is 0. Yeah, I mean, and that's why I said I've said previously that I think Gunforged was a success, is because like selling 2,500 copies of anything in any industry is actually quite an accomplishment compared to like the average, or compared to all of the people that try and fail to do something like that. So I'm definitely grateful that you all purchased Gunforged and that went as well as it did. However, that is still not enough money to pay the bills. So I have to focus on selling even more copies for Alchemortis if I want to continue doing this, right? So anyway, let's see why this gold is not working. I will stop pontificating and I will go and fix my broken code. Skull Tower. Let's just move this down. Input card. Axe. Okay. So I think this base input card should be... Wait, base input card is Bell? Why is that? Okay, so that's why it's wrong. I'm not passing in... Oh, I'm filtering out... Gold is never getting into here. So the gold is never getting into this get randomized output. Gold is never getting into this get randomized output because it's being filtered out here. Reagent added abilities. Well, is there a simpler way to do this? Alchemy added ability. For each var target card and reagent added ability, get target cards. If transmuted card map dot try get value target card out var transmuted card, we are going to do reagent added abilities transmuted card is equal to, and we're going to make this a new list. Okay, so I will just do this at this point then. So if the gold was transmuted into a different card, I will then just assign all of the abilities that are being assigned to the gold to here. And so now what I can do up here, so I think the problem, I'm going to run this, but I think the problem here now is going to be that the gold just never... No, wait a minute. Is it still changing the input cards? Oh wait, non-reagent... Okay, maybe that's actually okay. Alright, well, let's see what happens. This whole alchemy system is just a mess. I should probably just sit down and try to refactor this, but let's see. It's still not working. Oh my gosh, I'm going to lose my mind. I am going to lose my mind. Well, we might as well just run a debug again. I don't know why this isn't working. Change your perspective, change your reality. All is interpretation. I've always approached anything related to program or game dev or otherwise as a puzzle to solve. Having something to break creates a puzzle to solve, which provides the learning experience you need. Yeah, I think that's exactly right. When you discover things like state machines, composition, and things like that as you roll, but you need to understand how to search for these things. I think that has some roadmaps on the web. Yeah, I think a part of learning any new skill, part of the problem is you just don't know what tools are in your toolbox, right? Like there are the known unknowns and then the unknown unknowns, right? And so an unknown unknown is a difficult situation to be in because you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what tools are available. You may not even know that you should be asking the question, what tools are available to me? But as you gain experience, that transforms gradually more into a state of known unknowns where you know what you don't know and you can go and seek it, right? But that just requires practice like we discussed. I don't think I have a mod that can be downloaded as free that even has 1,000 downloads. Not yet, at least, yeah. I'm not discouraging anybody. I think that creating your dream game is a good idea, even if you fail. What I was trying to say, experienced dev will probably not ask that question because he can define better what he can and cannot do. He knows what are the engine language. Yeah, and that actually goes right to what I just said, right? The known unknowns. An experienced dev can set off on a brand new project and not know how to approach it, but know how to find the information about how to approach it. I actually started with overscope game idea, failed miserably and humbled myself, but learned a lot from the project. I was responding specifically to can I, not should I, if that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense, for sure. I think we're on the same page. I'm in the thick of an overscoped game idea. Yeah, me too. This could be solved with wide fat cats. Oh no. This could be solved with wide fat cats, I guess. All right. So the skull tower's there. The input card here. Giant squid. Okay, so we have these reagent added abilities. One of these should be gold. No, it's not gold. It's giant squid. So then if we look at the transmuted card map, key. Oh, right. Yeah, this is not going to work because I still need to get the gold. Do I just need to reverse this? Genius. Transmuted card to original card. And this is .keys now. And then if I go up here, transmuted card to original card, base input card, original. Let's do transmuted source card. Okay, and then we can do this input card is wrong. So we can actually get rid of this, actually. Okay, transmuted card. So transmuted card to original card, try get value input card to transmuted source card. Try get value, we're going to do transmuted source card, null coalescing to the input card. I just reversed them. Let's see if that works. Your alchemy system seems like a good place to have some unit tests. I imagine you could test the inputs and outputs in a more streamlined fashion. I suppose you don't really know what the output should be just yet. Yeah, if I were to do unit testing, there are 2 major places where I would do it, maybe 3. One would be the alchemy system, and I may actually do that because as the alchemy system grows in complexity, I don't want to have to keep manually testing all these different interactions. So the alchemy system would be a good place for unit tests. The ability system would be a good place for unit tests, especially the more complex abilities in terms of how they work. And then, what was the third place? Oh, the board querying system, making sure that the query system works with all different combinations of query options and everything. And I'm getting to the point where I'm actually starting to consider doing stuff like that, but oh, I didn't even put the dragon skills in there. Anyway, let's try this. There we go. I finally got the ability to go onto the gold item. We did it. Now there is another bug here that I need to resolve, which is this needs to correctly state how many negative abilities the card can have. So let me do this. So if I go here, if I put this on the board, and then this on the board. Maybe it's right, actually. No, I don't think so. I think I need to change something. Anyway. Fix guaranteed abilities not being added to gold transmuted card. There's one other thing that I want to check here. I want to see if this Banshee head works. I was thinking about this. I don't think the Banshee head works as a reagent. I mean, I like this reagent ability, but I think the Banshee head probably is better as an actual card that you can play, just from a thematic standpoint. So I may take this art and make it a player card, like a normal card instead, and then find a different piece of art for this reagent. But anyway, adds a following ability as a guaranteed alchemy output to allied cards. So this is wrong. This is supposed to say on the left edge of the board, but let's just go ahead and check and make sure that works. So the Skull Tower should have Echo and the Spider should not. Okay, that does work. So while I'm thinking of it, let's go ahead and just fix this. So if we go to the query target provider, to query string. Yeah, I just don't have else if query directions has flag left edge on the left edge of the board. I remember when I first started to make games where I wanted to make a really big game just so I could improve my skills enough to know how the language works so I can make actual good games. What does question mark equals in C# do? Is it like JS if it doesn't exist? It's this. Yeah, so that is the null. I forgot what exactly it's called. It's like the null assignment operator. So basically, if the left hand of the operation is null, then it will be assigned to the right hand side value. And if it is not null, then it doesn't get reassigned. Ironically, the question mark caused confusion, yeah. Hello, MN Dev. Greetings to you as well. Wish you a good day. How do you combine the job and game dev? Many thanks in advance. If you're asking how do I manage a job and doing game dev at the same time, I don't have a job, like a full-time real job right now. So I just work on this. That's my only job right now, is to work on this. But when I was working full-time, I basically just worked on my games in the evenings and on the weekends, whenever I had time. And yeah, that's about it. Hello, Chris. Good morning to you. Welcome, welcome. I thought it was a great reagent. What about it did you not like? No, I think it's okay. I just think that from an art perspective, from a theme perspective, this looks more like a card you can play than a reagent, you know? Like the reagents have kind of like a very distinct theme in that they're kind of like materials, right? Whereas something like this is more, yeah, it just seems like something more that you would actively play on your board, you know what I mean? Just from a theme perspective, that's all. Hello, Defected. Good morning. Welcome back. Okay. So there's another issue in here, which is the negative count. So modify Banshee head. This negative ability count, I'm pretty sure, is wrong in here. This is doing reagent added abilities.count. Guaranteed added count. I think this just needs to be reagent added abilities dot count is greater than 0 question mark reagent added abilities dot values dot max x dot count 0. I think that's what that needs to be. Okay, let me just see if that makes sense. Don't know what that means. Okay. So let's just see. If I put a spiderling in here with dragon scales, cards will have 0 to 1 negative ability. So that's actually wrong. That text is wrong there. Why is it saying 0 to 1? Oh, because this is wrong. I think this is always increasing. Hold on a second. I think I changed it so that it always increases the number of abilities to add. Abilities to take. Card to new ability count. Ability count plus 1. Yeah, so I think this just needs to be plus 1 as well. Now that you mentioned it, I feel like reagents should be visually distinct from the normal cards that are placed on the player board. Maybe a different border color, blue perhaps. Yeah, I could consider that for sure. So this should say cards will have 1 negative ability. If I do this, 0 to 1 negative ability. If I do this, 0 to 3 negative abilities. So this is wrong. So what's happening under the hood here is every time I put the gold on the board, it's actually doing a transmutation operation under the hood. So I actually don't want to surface that information. Because like if it says cards will have 0 to 2 negative abilities, oh well, that means that this gold is going to transform into a 1/1 card, I believe. So let's just see if that works. Oh no, I was wrong. But anyway, that transmuted card data should not be accounted for in here. So we have these non-reagent. Oh, this needs to be accept keys. I already had that logic in place. I just need to reverse that. Okay, that should be fixed now. So a reagent is a material. Do you have a tree bark material yet? If not, can give you growth. Maybe growth can increase the card size and stats. Well, I can't really modify the card size. That wouldn't work with the grid system that I have. Okay, so now the gold is being excluded from that. Okay, I think I fixed that number now, so that's good. I agree, that's a good point. Or having special inventory only for reagents, since now they can take up considerable space. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the point, right? Like, I want you to feel constrained on space so that you're constantly reevaluating, getting rid of things that you don't need, using the alchemy system. I think the space, like, it feels restrictive, but it's supposed to feel restrictive. Now, if it feels too restrictive, you know, that's something that we can test, and that's something I can change with your feedback, but it is important that the inventory space feels constrained so that you're constantly having to make decisions about which cards you want to keep, which reagents you want to use, which cards you want to sell. I think that does add meaningful decision making to the game, even though it kind of feels restrictive. But like, it's restrictive in a way where like you can get power out of it, right? So like doing the alchemy system means that you're going to get, generally speaking, more powerful cards, and it's also a card sink. So you throw a bunch of cards in the alchemy system, you can only choose one output. Any reagents that you put into the alchemy are destroyed, so you don't get them back. So yeah, all of it is in service of pushing players into the alchemy system, and so that's why I'm kind of hesitant to do something like have a separate reagent inventory. But again, like this is all subject to how the playtest feels and how everyone feels about it. If the inventory space feels too restrictive, I can increase it. If people want to be able to hoard alchemical reagents and that creates a better experience for people, then that's something that we can definitely consider doing. But yeah, we just have to see how the playtest goes. Maybe not bark instead of seed. A seed would be a good one. I had a really neat card idea, but I didn't care how viable it would be. Homunculus T1, 10% crit, 1.7% X. Non-common ability, card size equals tier +1. Ability can be not transmuted or lost. So it's a card that actually changes size. Having a way to increase your backpack is always nice, but yeah, restrictions are necessary. What are the grayed out scripts? Never seen that before. Those are global classes. So this script is a custom type. It's marked with a global class. So this is the kind of thing, like this clickable coordinator is something that I can add through the add node dialog because it's a global class. And then the grayed out script indicates that that's a global class. So you can't like detach or add a new script to this. So it's kind of like that script is like locked to that node type. That or its stability is equal to the cards tier. That would be neat too. Oh yeah, yeah. What about a special node event where a person requests an alchemized card? If given, you get a reward like a lot of blood or a rare card reagent. That's an interesting idea. Yeah, I like that one. Out of sight, out of mind is a real thing. There's definitely value of keeping the reagent in view. Yeah, for sure. It's more like a card that is a blank slate that you have to build from the ground up. That is, yeah, that is a good idea. I'll have to think about how to implement that. But I think I've fixed this issue now. So yeah, fix negative ability count. Actually, you know what I should do is I should test and make sure that the honey still works. Let me just do that really quick. So I think, you know, hopefully the alchemy system is not buggy anymore and it will work. So I put the honey in there, I put the spiderling in there, then I put the dragon scale in there. If I remove this honey, it should say card will have 1 negative ability. 1 negative ability will be removed. And so if I go ahead and do those all together, I should get a spiderling that has the 1 damage plus the converts all preserved applied to fire and no negative abilities. So that's great. All right, I think the honey is still working, so that's good. Fix negative ability count. Estimate. All right, we're just crushing through these bugs. I feel sufficiently restricted already. I'm definitely one of the hoarder type players. I can't let go of anything valuable in games. Always finish Final Fantasy games with 100 ethers. Yeah, I definitely understand that. I mean, I'm playing Arc Raiders right now. My stash is currently full and I keep having to make decisions about what to keep and what to sell, and that can be very annoying. But I definitely understand like what the game design reason for that is, because there is something interesting about having to constantly make those decisions about what you keep and what you drop. And like I said, the Alchemortis is like the whole design works in a way that you're never not going to get something from a card. The only way to get rid of a card, like destroy it if you don't want it, is to sell it. And that gives you blood, and blood is useful to do other things, right? But then you can also use the cards as inputs to alchemy, which has the potential to give you a very powerful card. So yes, you have to get rid of stuff, but you're never going to like just outright be at a loss. You're always getting something out of every card you collect, even if it just goes straight to the sell board. That's blood that you can use for other purposes. So hopefully those things together make it feel like instead of you're just losing cards because you don't have space, I'm hoping that that system at least makes it more interesting. Like, well, I could sell this for blood. I don't really need this. I wanted to use this earlier, but my build did not shape up the way that I had initially expected it to. So now I can sell this, get some blood, do some alchemy, so on and so forth. That reminds me of Inscription, where you take your fave card and just make it super strong. Yeah, whenever I played the Souls games, I got like all of those consumables and I never used them. I don't think we had a commit count reveal in a while. I don't think it's been that much since the last time. We are at almost 1,900 commits, 1,895. We're almost at 2,000 commits for this project. You're incentivized to throw cards away one way or another, yeah. My headset is ruined and I have to hold the cable a special degree to make it sound from both sides. Oof. Interesting you don't wear a headset when using a computer. I have, well, for the stream, you know, the only thing that's playing sound-wise is the background music, and I don't need to hear that. You all are being subjected to the background music, but I don't need to hear it. And also, I have bookshelf speakers on my PC, so when I'm not in voice chat or whatever, I just play the sound through my speakers. Anyway, I'm gonna do like a MTV Cribs thing and show off my my computer setup. It's actually not that impressive. It's just normal setup. Anyway, let's figure out what to do next. Do we want to go on some more head scratching adventures? Because there's this bug here that I want to fix, but that's going to be very, very involved, I think. Announcements aren't centered when shown on the overworld map. That's related to music. Update map node tooltip to show effects more nicely with icons and such. That might be a good one to do. Godot you never heard of. New art for grill board event. Allow selection of cardinal directions. Allow opening combat log after final boss. Add obelisk power for new grill board event. So we do need to do the grill board event changes. Maybe we should do that. Let me see what stage that art is in. I think it's done. Yeah, so I made like this new like alchemical circle thing for the grill board event with the cardinal directions. And the plan was to make each of these sections light up independently when you hover over them, and then maybe do some interesting like visual effect or something. Maybe we should implement this. Yeah, let's do that. So, because right now the grill board event is very terrible. Grill board is 5. What sort of maniac uses speakers? I use speakers, so this kind, but I do use headphones also when needed. Specifically when setting up OBS or gaming with friends. Oh no. Seems like an idea for advancement. It lightens up as you achieve things. So right now the grill board event looks like this. I still got that old crystal in place. So this up, down, left, right is going to be replaced by these things here. These sections. And then probably, yeah, we'll probably do some kind of animation for this. Get some nice sound effects in there as well. We have to replace the map icon as well. So yeah. That grill board art reminds me of the sphere grid. If there's meta upgrades, that would be a dope screen to use. Not only grows the board, but your meta progression as well. The sphere grid. I don't know what the sphere grid is that you're referring to. Okay. Let's do this. I do need to implement this. That is going to be one thing that needs to be done before the next playtest, obviously. So basically, I'm trying to keep the to-do list very, very small so that we can actually get to the playtest. I still, if you remember yesterday, I experimented with being able to change the abilities within cards. So like have a reagent that changes all damage keywords into poison instead. Which is not the same thing as converting all damage applied to poison, because if you have a card that scales off of damage done, you could change that to scaling off of poison applied, right? So I have an approach for that, a new approach for that I want to try. However, I'm trying to be disciplined and not implement that for this playtest because I do want to get the playtest out sooner rather than later. One thing that I'm kind of debating what I want to do before the playtest is if I want to spend the time to create a very nice interactive tutorial for the next playtest. Because I think I'm getting to the point where the game is feeling pretty good and the mechanics are all there. And now the major problem is player education. Even with the people who played the previous playtests, I talk to people, I send them a copy of the game, and they don't really know how to play it. And I think that's going to be a bigger and bigger problem, especially as the game gets better and better, right? Because I don't want people to be turned off of the game or not understand the game because I didn't educate them properly. So I'm trying to debate if I should do a tutorial for this before this playtest or if I should wait on that. I don't know. Something to think about. Anyway, the sphere grid is from Final Fantasy X. Yeah, but I don't see it. Sphere grid is from Final Fantasy X. It's like Path of Exile, passive tree. Oh, interesting. Active skills and stats. Do you guys want a skill tree for the meta progression? I feel like people love skill trees. Can we also get Blitzball? I miss Blitzball. Yeah, meta progression is an entire thing that I need to figure out. I also want to do multiple playable characters. So yeah, we'll have to figure all that out for sure. We love skill trees, yeah. Okay, well, give me a quick 3-minute break, and when I come back, we're going to implement this grow board event art. So that's going to be chopping this art up appropriately into sections and then redoing the grow board container here. So redoing all of this to use that new art and getting that all integrated into the game. Then we're also going to need to do a new map icon for that since the art is changing. So yeah, we'll figure it out. It's long-term progress. I'm a dork for skill trees. Roguelikes and skill trees are the new meta. Skill trees are just the bee's knees. I mainly want unlockable cards difficulty. Yeah, so one of the reasons why I want to get to like 300 player cards is so that way I can like drip feed new cards into the loot pool as you go through the meta progression. So I would love, for instance, for you to be able to go to the skill tree and unlock the deep sea creatures pack, you know what I mean? And that would make like the giant squid and the jellyfish and whatever else available in the loot pool when it otherwise wouldn't be. And I think that would help to keep the game very fresh, keep introducing new things to the player. But yeah, we'll see. Also don't want to blow the scope for your game. Also characters if you do that right, yeah. The hardest thing I had a problem with Bizarre was just that the game handed you every single skill type on every card, and up front it's fairly intimidating. Right, yeah. That is going to be the next major challenge of this game, I think, is figuring out the progression system, easing the player into the game, the progression system, but then also like offering something for the players that master the game and can beat the game on the default difficulty very easily. What to do about that, right? Like how to give them more of a challenge. Those are going to be the next problems to solve, I think, but we'll see. All depends on how the next play test goes and what people think about it. Be careful about permanent progression with new cards. Super accurate, I still have a hard time with some of the abilities. Will the packs be toggleable, like if somebody unlocks this pack but don't want it in game? Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. You don't want to make combos become more difficult as you get more cards. Yeah, I understand that, but also at the same time, like, this game is not necessarily about... Well, I guess the way I would say it is like the alchemy system is supposed to make it so that you can create the synergies that you're after. Even if you don't get the specific cards that you want, each run is going to be slightly different anyway, because you're going to have different cards with different abilities, and you're going to have them taking up different amounts of space on the board, and they'll have different negative abilities, and you'll have different artifacts. And so chasing a specific build with a specific combination of cards is not really what this game is about. This game is about having a bunch of tools thrown at you as the player that you can then make use of. So it's less like Slay the Spire in that, like, you know, when I played Slay the Spire, I would always go for the poison build. I forgot exactly what it is, but you could rack up, you know, a ridiculous amount of poison if you got the right relics and whatnot. But this game is less about that and more so about, like, here's a bunch of abilities and here's a bunch of artifacts, and, like, you try to make your own build out of this. That's more so what I'm going for. So it shouldn't be the case that you get, like, a specific card and you go, yes, that's my, you know, build defining card. That can happen, but I want you to create your own builds with the alchemy system and make your own things work, if that makes sense. So having more, so the goal is, if there are more cards in the card pool, then there are more tools at your disposal to do that thing. And look, it's entirely possible that I'm going to fail at accomplishing that objective, but that's kind of what I'm trying to go for. Not the same type of progression, but the way the Binding of Isaac handles them unlocks is awesome, but they have a lot of items. Yeah, maybe a meta progression would be something like unlocking Echo or another complex skill. Yeah, I could definitely, like, gate abilities behind progression. Yeah, we got to think about all that. Very similar to the philosophy that Bazaar has. More along the lines of he is coming. Having so many things that you cannot force a build, but unlocking bad or niche cards would feel bad if it dilutes the pool. That's the point of the booster packs. They allow force search for different types of cards. Yeah. And again, all this stuff is going to be subject to tweaking and balance and stuff, and yeah, we will figure it out. If it takes many iterations, then that's what we'll do. But anyway, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and when I come back, we will start working on this new art for the Grow board event. So I'll be right back. All right. Maybe even do a draft with your opponent for a pack. The enemy opens a pack and you draft and fight against him with the chosen cards. Interesting. I don't mind blowing the scope of your game. I'm glad you don't. I'm glad you were taking the liberty of blowing out the scope of my game. I do to mine all the time. I think toggleable packs may be useful for different things. For example, you don't know if and what achievements you are planning, but limiting build possibilities can make it easier to obtain. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of interesting ideas here, and it's all going to be a question of managing the scope, but also serving the gameplay. I could definitely see a situation where, you know, you start a run, you choose your character that you want to play as, and then, like, maybe there are 10 different booster packs, or 10 different, like, packs, or whatever, and you have to choose 5 of them, or whatever. And those will be the 5 that will get added to the loot pool. So yeah, if there's a lot of cards, if there's like hundreds of player cards, you might be able to like reduce that to, well, there's only going to be 200 in this run, right? And then that would be a way of making it interesting without like diluting the pool. And then the goal would be like, well, depending on what character you're playing, it might be ideal to have different booster or different packs selected, right? Now, on the flip side, what happens if there are players that say, I want to play with all of them, right? Well, maybe I could say you have to choose at least 5, but you could choose all of them if you want to. That might be a way of doing it. Something like that. It all depends on how many cards are in the game. It depends on how the character selection works. I think what I'm going to do for the characters is like, you know how like whenever you choose a character in a roguelike game, they all have different stats, right? They've got different starting health, they've got, you know, different armor, they have different passive abilities or whatever. I think what I'm going to do with Alchemortis is going to be very minimal, because I already have the artifact system, and I already have like the cards that you start with in your inventory, right? So what I'm thinking about doing is the base Necromancer guy that is this character here. He'll start with the 2 skeletons, but also he will start with the Skull Wand artifact, which increases minion crit chance by 15%. And then, of course, I can tweak the starting blood, the starting alchemical residue, and also the starting health. So I basically I'll have different art for each player character. I'll have a different starting artifact for each player character, different starting health, different starting cards, different starting blood, and different starting alchemical residue. And all of those things put together should give each character unique identity, especially when they start with an artifact, because the artifacts are going to change the way that you play the game. And so if you start with one, that's like having a passive ability attached to the player, to the character, I mean, that you're choosing. So that would be that. I think that's the way I'm going to do it, because that keeps the scope constrained. I don't need to start adding like a bunch of passive abilities or whatever. I'm just using the systems I already have in place and slightly changing the starting configurations. And that should give each player character a kind of unique feel without actually requiring many new systems at all. Sort of like Slay the Spire, there are generic cards, but depending on the character, it really defines what cards they're about. Yeah, which cards to care about? Yeah, I think so, yeah. I think that's close, but in Slay the Spire, each character essentially has their own full deck and cards built for it. Yeah, but there are generic cards, right? I mean, it depends on how you're defining generic cards. Like every class, or just about every class or character in Slay the Spire has like block cards, right? So they're themed differently for each class, but they're still block at the end of the day. Holding a vial, a small potion. Yeah, anyway. That's all for future Firebelly to worry about. Right now, we have to focus on doing this. So I'm going to... This is going to be kind of annoying. Lasso tool. There's got to be an easier way to do this. Let's take, let's do W, not global. We want to do contiguous. Oh, yeah, this is going to be annoying. Oops. We are just going to circumnavigate this whole piece of art here. Maybe there's an easier way to do this, but we're going to take pride in doing things the slow way. Oh, I'm tired of clicking already. Okay, did we do it? I think we did it. Okay, so this is the outer ring. So now we can toggle that off, and this should make doing this a lot easier. So let's do the lasso tool. Bring this up this way, bring this over here. Very carefully. Okay. All right, so why is this called hair? Oh, I was originally doing like a homunculus thing here, which did not pan out, but that's all right. Okay, so we're gonna paste that there. We're gonna do north. Yeah, that'll work. So we're gonna lock those. Let's hide these. Let's do the lasso tool again. Bring this up this way, through here. Yep, and then we'll do, that one was west. Lock that, okay. Yep. South. And then this one. Oops. East. Okay, so I've got all those, and then this layer 2 here, this is just the inner symbol. Okay, so we've got all those things now. So yeah, we can just export all these now. I do think I probably need to outline these things, so let's do outer ring, outline. Oh, it's locked, okay. Outer ring, north. I don't know if I need to fill all these in, but maybe I will need to do that. West, south, east, inner symbol. Okay, so there we go. We've all got it all outlined now. And now what I can do is I can do export layers. But first, what I want to do is let's grab the outer ring here. And let's just do file, export, export as. We're going to do grow board alternate mockup. We're going to do area selection, visible layers, export. So what that's going to do is I can bring this now into here. I guess I'll keep the firefly particles. Why not? Get rid of that. Let's just go ahead and add, add what? Okay, so we've got this mock up here now. Okay, we'll get rid of these buttons. Okay. So we've got that going. And then the next step is to export all these. Export layers. Let me actually remove the selection. Export layers. I don't know why this takes forever. This used to be snappy and now it's like... Hello? Are you going to do anything? Did it already work? Oh, it did it. Oh, wait. No, there it goes. Yeah, okay, finally, it's done. Cheapers. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Well, this is going to be a little bit concerning. Oh, okay. Generic as in cards accessible to everyone. Oh, gotcha. Don't miss a single pixel. I'm looking. I don't think I did. Let's get rid of this. Hello, Senior Junior Games. What a shame we live in the AI era and software does not even respond to passive-aggressive callouts like, are you going to do anything? Yeah. Yeah, these AI assistants are just like their human equivalents. Lazy bums! My favorite genre of LLM response is just like when Claude tells you to delete your code. Oh, there's a bug in this code? Oh, here, I fixed it. I removed it. I removed all the code. It's like... That's like something a junior developer would do. I've seen junior developers just delete whole sections of necessary code because I was like, well, it seems to work fine without it. It's like, no. Hello, Kazori. My favorite is you're absolutely right. Yeah, I actually gave, so I have a ChatGPT subscription just because it's useful for brainstorming and for generating like concept art and stuff like that. And I had to explicitly tell it in the instructions, like, I don't want to hear any positive reinforcement. I don't want to hear like chipper, like, oh, you're right. I don't want to hear any of that. Just give me what I'm asking for straight with minimal flowery language. And that seems to work pretty well. I don't need you to be my buddy. I want you to give me the information. Anyway. So let's do a Node 2D for visuals. And then we're going to go ahead and let's just put inner symbol, north, outer ring, southwest, not the stump. Am I missing one? East. There we go. Well, that looks kind of interesting. Put these all under visuals. Okay, let's start with the outer ring. And we will bring this, I'm going to turn off the offset here. So we'll just align this properly. Cool. Okay, so now east, we're also going to turn off this offset and we're just going to put this here. Inner symbol, this should probably be below everything. Okay. North. There we go. Particles, that's not right. I didn't mean to drag that in. Okay. South. west. Okay, now we can get rid of the reference. Okay. So now we have to create clickable controls for this. Now the thing that I didn't think about is the clickable controls are... The clickable controls are rectangular. So this is going to be a problem. So if I do a clickable control... Oh, you know what? I probably should have. I did this in the wrong order, I think. That's okay. Clickable control. We're going to put east under that. Actually, maybe I don't need to do that. Maybe I'll just try to align this as good as possible. Yeah, see, the problem is that I need this whole area to be clickable, and I need this whole area to be clickable, but if I just do pure rectangles, that is going to not work because they're going to overlap with each other. I mean, I could do something like... Oops. Okay, these are all getting locked. I could do something like this, maybe? But then these areas won't be clickable, and that might feel bad. So, what can I do about that? Maybe I can use a polygon 2D. Geometry 2D. I'm looking for if there's a way to check if a point is within a polygon. Is point in polygon here? So what I'm thinking I might be able to do is I might be able to extend my clickable control to support a polygonal area. Oh, I didn't think about this. I don't think that's going to work, though. I may have to do something very weird to get this to work. I like that. Not looking for a friend, looking for... yeah. Yeah, sure. Do you code sound effects manager to avoid audio instance duplication, or just keep instancing audio? That's a good question. So I have been making good use of the polyphony values, or the polyphony property of audio stream players. So if I go, for instance, to the enemy defeated, so when the enemy dies, it plays this really satisfying blood explosion sound. And I have a number of streams in here. These are all the variations of the sound effect that can be played. And I have a audio stream randomizer, which will choose a random stream from that, apply random volume and random pitch and all that stuff. And there's also this max polyphony value. So that determines how many of this type of stream can play at once. This is a new feature in Godot 4, I believe. And so that's one way you can manage. Like if you're trying to manage not playing the same sound effect multiple or like too many times, this max polyphony works really well for that, as well as the audio stream randomizer. The thing is though that, yeah, I don't avoid instantiating audio stream player nodes because they're just nodes that are referencing a resource under the hood, and the resource will be cached if it's not local to scene, which it's not. So yeah, there's not going to really be much of a performance problem with instantiating multiple audio stream player nodes. But yeah, restricting certain sound effects from playing like too much can be done with this max polyphony. But if you have multiple instances, I think that polyphony is separate, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because this is a node property. So you would have to come up with some kind of way of managing that. The easy way to do that would be to just come up with like a global or a semi-global audio stream player that is responsible for playing all of the sound effects for each node that might need to play it. And then you can make use of that polyphony. So for example, my UI or my audio helper, I have a bunch of stuff in the audio helper. So I've got all the music in the audio helper here, which is an auto load. But then I also have this click player, which is for the UI elements. And this is the global click sound effect for the UI elements. So every UI element in the game, instead of managing their own audio stream player, they will call a static method on the audio helper. Actually, that's not how they work. Anyway, we don't need to get into this, but basically I can register a button on the audio helper, and then I connect to that press signal and then play the click player when that button gets pressed. So this register button gets called for every button. And right now I'm using a custom button, so it just registers that, and I use the custom button everywhere. Anyway, I don't know if that answers your question, but hopefully it does. Anyway, we're going to go back here. Might you need to use a sign distance field in order to figure out if a point is a polygon or not. I don't think I need to do that because Godot gives me that functionality out of the box. I code an audio manager that manages instancing audios, like you can play multiple times the same audio by choosing to stop and play, or make instance and immediately delete it after finish. Yeah, that can be helpful. I mean, it depends on the context in which you're doing that, but so what I might need to do here is I might need to modify this clickable control to support a polygonal area, which is going to be extremely, extremely annoying. But it will be an interesting little exercise, so I guess we'll do it. So that's the area that needs to be covered, but then I need to have a polygon. This window is too big. I'm just trying to mirror it as best as possible here. Okay, so there's my polygon. Now it's just going to be a question of how do I actually get this to work. So let's do east clickable control. I'll put this down here. Polygon 2D. I don't need that to be visible. I just needed it for the polygon shape. East clickable control. So we're probably going to need to do export private polygon 2D click area polygon. on GUI input. If his mouse input is hovered. So I think I just need to change this is hovered. Maybe this will be easier. The big problem, I think, here is not going to be detecting the mouse inside the polygon. The big problem is going to be managing the propagation of mouse events, because this has a filter of stop by default. And so what I'm going to need to do is pass along that mouse input event if it doesn't get intercepted by a polygon, which should be relatively easy to do. So in my ready method here, what I will do is I will say mouse filter is equal to, I'm just going to make this a little bit simpler. Private bool has polygon click area. Click area polygon is not equal to null. Mouse is if it has a polygon click area, we're going to change this to pass. Otherwise, it's going to be the default mouse filter, whatever's configured in the editor. And then what I need to do is on GUI input, we need to create in here private void. Private void is within polygon click area. This actually needs to return bool. If not has polygon click area, return true. Otherwise, click area polygon. That's not right. We need to use the geometry return. Geometry 2D is point in polygon. I probably need to convert this to local coordinates. So we do like get local mouse position and then click area polygon dot polygon. So it is within polygon click area. So here's the problem. This on mouse entered and on mouse exited. This is going to need to change as well. So this on mouse entered and on mouse exited, these are going to be listened for by the rectangle, not the polygon. I think I need to do an accept event here as well. Okay, so I think basically what I need to do is let's not connect to these here, mouse entered, mouse exited. If not has polygon click area, then we can connect to these. However, if we do have a polygonal area, then we need to just rely on the GUI input here. Sorry, I gotta respond to a text. So on GUI input. So now what we're going to need to do in here is if we're going to need to do if EVT is input event mouse motion and has polygonal click area. If not is hovered and is within polygon click area on mouse entered, else if is hovered and not is within polygon click area on mouse exited. So we're basically just going to drive those signal handlers myself. And then we're also going to I guess I can accept the event in here so it stops propagating. Hovered within polygon click area. We're just going to accept, so we're going to accept the event if we're currently hovered and we're putting more mouse motion events on the polygon that we're hovering over. We're just going to accept that event so it doesn't propagate anymore. I have no idea if this is going to work, but I guess we will try it. So let's go back here. Let's build. I have a feeling that this is very much not going to work, but it's called we do a little experimenting. And hey, whoever's watching this right now, whether you're watching live or the VOD, you will know whether this is a valid strategy or not. So we got the click area polygon. The outline target is east. Okay, and now, I'm actually not ready to test this because I need to delete a bunch of stuff in here. Goodbye art. We can keep that reference. We can keep the firefly particles. Click player, we don't need the shatter player anymore. That's gonna go away. Get rid of these buttons. Get rid of the crystal tween. Get rid of the shake tween. Get rid of hits. If this dot is current scene, play in. Okay. I think that's good. Let's see what happens. Did it actually work? So you could see here, I can do this. We'll turn off editor only so we can see the whole thing. So we can see that this is the control area, right? So I'm not listening for mouse entering the control area. I'm listening for when I enter that polygon, and that works. And the hover exited, hover entered is fine. That doesn't look proper. I might want to fill that in with background, but that's all right. Okay, so that's working. Now the question is, it's working in this case. Oh, and it looks like it's not. Oh, right, so there's a problem here. That GUI input only handles mouse events that happen within this square. And if I move the mouse quickly enough out of it, it doesn't detect that mouse motion. You know what I may do instead? I may just have to move that to the process method instead. And just have every polygonal click area just check the mouse position every frame. However, I already have a process method here. I don't want this process method to happen all the time. The process method should only happen if the outline target is a canvas group or if I have a polygonal area. So maybe what I'll do... Let's just do it very simply for now. Okay. Okay, so then in the process here, let's do this. Handle canvas group outline. Handle polygon click area. Private void. Handle canvas group outline. Private void handle polygon click area. We're going to move this logic out of this GUI input here. Oh, but the problem here, I'm not going to be able to accept these mouse events anymore. Which I guess is okay. I think that should be all right. So let's just bring this out of here. And we're going to put this in here. Get local mouse position. If not, has polygon click area. Return. Okay, we could get rid of this. We don't need this accept event anymore. Oh, I don't need the mouse position here. Let's rename this. Is mouse within polygon click area. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to try to just keep this polygon. This can be north clickable control. Oh, I was accidentally moving the polygon. Okay, north clickable control. This is going to need to have its dimensions flipped. $76 39. I think that's correct. Then we'll take this polygon here, rotate polygon. Oh, is it not going to let me snap the rotation? Oh, wait, here we go. Snap. There we go. I think that's roughly okay. Well, it's not quite right. We'll just eyeball it, I guess. Well, let's see what happens. This needs to have this set as the polygon. This needs to have north set as the outline target. All right, moment of truth. Let's see if it works. It did not work. I wonder if that's because I rotated the polygon. Yeah, maybe because the polygon is rotated, it's not working anymore. That's unfortunate. Okay, I'm going to delete this. Let's duplicate this, put this under here. And instead of rotating the polygon, I'll just rotate the node 2D itself. That's probably not going to work, but I don't know how any of this polygon stuff works, so it's worth the experiment. Oh, did I forget to... Oh, click area polygon. Oops. Forgot to assign that. Okay, let's try it again. Yeah, rotating the polygon doesn't work. Okay, all right. Well, that's unfortunate. Maybe I can do click area polygon here, dot get local mouse position. Maybe that will work. So maybe that local mouse position will be relative to its transform. Oh, did that work? Okay. Okay, that seems to have worked. So even though I've got this overlapping section of clickable controls here, because they have polygons instead, that's being handled. So what should happen is if I click in here, that clicked signal should only be emitted if click on release and is action pressed, click action. I think I can just change this to is hovered and this. Oops. Okay, so we're not going to allow clicking unless we are hovered on it. And then if we don't have click on release enabled, we'll just check for the is action pressed down, or if we have click on release enabled and the is action released click action. Okay, that should work. Now we can actually connect to those clickables. So let's do access as unique name here. I actually don't want these to be inside the visual, so I'm going to remove that. And of course, we'll just put the clickable controls down here. Okay. So east and north. Node private clickable control, east clickable control, node private clickable control, north clickable control. North clickable control dot clicked plus equals gd.print north. All right, let's just make sure that these mouse events are working properly now. I love bugs. Bugs are a form of art. Yeah, welcome December A. Good to see you again. Love it when bugs makes making games harder. Okay, so if I click in here, I should see east. I did not see anything. So yeah, this is the problem. If I click in here, that's like a dead space. Probably because the north is intercepting the mouse event. I bet you if I reverse the order in the scene tree here, maybe east would work. Yeah. So north is somehow intercepting the mouse event. So I need to fix that. Is hovered. So does it think that maybe this needs to be a control as well? In order for that pass mouse filter to work? I don't know. Let's see. Nope, it's not getting that east event. So when I click in here, in the overlap part, that is not being handled at all. Okay. Let's put a breakpoint there, and we'll just try it out. Launch scene. Show in file system. Copy path. Okay, let's launch this scene. And we'll see what happens. So if I go here and I click, I'm not getting any. I'm not getting any handling here. This is going to just trigger every time I do a mouse event. So why is that not? I guess pass just goes up the tree, I think. So maybe it's the case that because this is in front, this handles input first before the east clickable control, but pass only goes up to the parent. I don't think it goes to the siblings, if I'm not mistaken. So if I go to my mouse filter, the control will receive mouse input events and mouse input button events if clicked through GUI input. The control will also receive mouse enter and mouse exited signal. If the control does not handle the event, this event will propagate up to its parent control. So it's not propagating to the child, or to the sibling, I mean. Okay, well, there's a way around this. So instead of using pass, so I changed the mouse filter up here. What I can do is handle polygon click area on mouse entered. We're going to change the mouse filter enum to stop here. And this will become ignore. And then in my ready method here, I actually do need that. Mouse filter is equal to as polygon click area, mouse filter enum dot ignore, mouse filter. Let's see if that works. Computers don't think. I hope so, at least. Yeah. Okay, so this appears to be working. So if I go here and I click on this part, east, 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 north, 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 east, 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 north, north, north. Okay. So that appears to be working now. So I'm basically just changing the mouse filter to be ignore if it's not being actively hovered in the polygon. And so that should work. So now, even though I have these overlapping areas, it works. Okay. Well, I mean, that's okay. I think what I would like to see is maybe that I didn't break anything else with respect to the clickable control. So let me just click around a little bit and make sure. Oh, of course, I still have this set. So obviously there's a lot more work to do here. I was not expecting to have to extend that clickable control, but now I have the capability to support polygonal click areas, which is nice because if I ever have a situation like that again, I can just use that feature. So all the other clickable controls appear to be working just fine still. And I would expect that to be the case because I've made sure to flag everything behind whether it had a polygonal click area. So basically nothing should have functionally changed. Nothing did functionally change if I don't have a polygonal click area, which is the majority of clickable controls in the game. But if I do have that, then I've got some like special behavior here, which is fine. Okay. All right then. Start work on grow board implementation. So a lot of work to do still, but I'm getting very hungry, so I'm gonna hop off and eat lunch. We'll see if I do another stream this afternoon. I don't think I will be, but keep an eye on the Discord if you want to know if I'll be doing a bonus stream today. Also, you can wishlist Alchemortis, and you can also support the game on Patreon. Very much appreciate if you would do those things. You can also like the video, subscribe to the channel. Again, you can join the Discord. All those are great ways to support me. Very much appreciate it. Been a minute, good to be back. Looks like a great deal of progress. Hello, Anthony. Welcome back. Sorry, I'm just leaving the stream now, but always good to see you. And there is a lot of progress for sure. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great rest of your Friday. I will be streaming again tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, so I hope to see you there. And yeah, I'll talk to you later. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.